Good morning. If you could watch my post right before, it's just a song by Nuella. It's an old Simon and Garfunkel song called Sounds of Silence, and it's about suffering. And I wanted to tie that in with, because we're all going to go through suffering. I wanted to tie that in with Romans 8:18. I consider that our present sufferings are not worth comparing with the glory that will be revealed in us. For the creation waits in eager expectation for the children of God to be revealed. For the creation was subjected to frustration, not by its own choice, but by the will of the one who subjected it, in hope that the creation itself will be liberated from its bondage to decay and brought into the freedom and glory of the children of God. We know that the whole creation has been groaning as in the pains of childbirth right up to this present time. Not only so, but we ourselves, who have the first fruits of the Spirit, groan inwardly as we wait eagerly for the adoption to sonship, the redemption of our bodies. For in this hope we were saved. But hope that is seen is no hope at all. Who hopes for what they already have? But if we hope for what we do not have yet, we wait for it patiently. In the same way, the Spirit helps us in our weakness. We do not know what we ought to pray for, but the Spirit Himself intercedes for us through wordless groans. And He who searches our hearts knows the mind of the Spirit, because the Spirit intercedes for God's people in accordance with the will of God. And we know that in all things God works for good for those who love Him. And I was just thinking about, what do you do, because we're all going to go through suffering, but you can have that hope and that peace of God, with us through the suffering. That's where we are. We live in a broken place. That's what our Bible study was talking about today, that's at some time God is going to restore all things as they were created to be. We were created to be in this beautiful harmony and peace and shalom with God. And then by man's choice, man's will came in and said, I want to be my own. I don't want to submit my life to God. I don't want to be subject to God. I want to be my own. But there will be a day. That's the future glory of what God is going to bring back and restore. Just that harmony, that shalom, that perfect peace with God, that love of God overwhelming us. We could submit our lives to God today and experience peace with God again, and experience the peace of God within as we do submit. That's what our choice is. That's the free will choice, and that's the love choice. Without free will, there is no love. But we can experience, we don't have to be our own anymore. That's up to you. When you get to that point of, I had to get to the point of trying everything else to get to that point of saying, God, help me, and I'm going to trust you with my life. I'm not going to ask Jesus into my heart and hold back my life. I'm giving Him my life. And since then, I've experienced the peace of God. I've experienced love like I'll start crying, that you can never imagine. And then what happens out of that is just love flows out of your life instead of your life being all about you. We live in one of two postures, my life for me or my life for God. When you get back in that place of my life for God, then it's as we never ate the tree. We got to be in that place with God. We're still going to go through suffering and all that stuff, but we get to carry the love of God into that suffering with us. We got to bring peace. We got to bring love when I couldn't do that before because I was so centered in self. May God bless you today, and I hope you can experience the peace of God.